Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Shanita White, and I will serve as the moderator for this evening's webinar. There are a few housekeeping items I need to review before we get started. As an attendee, you are automatically muted upon entry. This is to keep the audio clean for everyone listening in. I encourage you to add your questions through the Q&A function at any time. One of our team members will be monitoring those throughout the event. We will start with panel introductions, followed by a brief presentation on curriculum, and then I'll ask our panelists your questions, those that you submitted during registration, and any that come in live through our Q&A function. We will do our best to get to as many questions as possible. And lastly, we will be recording this webinar and we'll post it to our website in the coming days. And now I'll take a moment and ask that our distinguished panel, if they will briefly introduce themselves. So I'll go around to everyone and just tell me your name and what department you're from and what you do at St. Thomas. So I'll actually start with our students first. I'll go to Cameron. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Cameron Schuck, and this fall I will be a senior at St. Thomas, studying entrepreneurship with a minor in theology, and I'm originally from Tomah, Wisconsin.
Thank you. Ms. Priscilla?
Hi everyone, my name is Priscilla Arosa. I just finished my junior year, so I'll be a senior this fall, and I am majoring in finance and minoring in economics, and I'm from Bloomington, Minnesota.
Thank you. Leslie?
Hi everyone, I'm Leslie Sabora. I'm an associate professor in the Health and Exercise Science Department, and I also co-direct the first year experience.
Laura?
Hi, I am Laura Dunham. I'm Associate Dean of the Schultz School of Entrepreneurship. So I manage both the academic programming, our undergraduate major, and our minor for non-business majors, as well as all these co-curricular programs that we put together for students across the university.
Thank you. Tanya?
Hi, my name is Tanya Gladney. I am faculty and department chair for the Department of Justice and Society Studies. I teach criminal justice courses, and I'm also the law enforcement coordinator for our law enforcement program.
Thank you. Colin?
Hey everyone, my name is Colin Martin. I'm a clinical professor in the biology department, and I teach mostly cell and molecular biology type classes to first year students as well as upperclassmen.
Drew?
I am Drew Piroway. I am the Associate Director of Academic Counseling, and our office is the sort of central advising office for the university. And so I lead a team of amazing academic counselors who will help with the advising and registration process through the summer. And I also teach FYEX 100, the first year seminar.
Thank you. And last but not least, Dean Weinkoff.
Hi, my name is Don Weinkoff. I'm the Dean of Engineering here at St. Thomas, and I'm introducing my self-inflicted haircut here in this COVID time. So I apologize in advance.
Thank you. Okay, thanks everyone. So next, I'll actually speak to you all a little bit about our curriculum and the curriculum that you would expect to have to be a part of when you come to St. Thomas. So this graphic, I really like it. It's a nice depiction of the St. Thomas academic education. And you'll see there's three layers in this pyramid. At the foundation is the core curriculum, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. And then you move into your major courses, and then we have this additional layer of enhanced courses that you'll have the opportunity to take. So the core curriculum is where I'll start, and it really is that. It is the core. It is the foundation of your education here at St. Thomas. And you'll see there's a range of credits. You see 45 to 57 credits in the core curriculum. And that is because it might depend upon your placement in the languages about how many credits you'll have to take. But it really is the foundation. It is the set of classes that all students take regardless of your major. So all students will take these core courses. Usually you take them in your first year. It's kind of good to start to work through some of these. And then you'll move on to your major courses from there. So within the core, I'll just kind of talk to you a little bit about some of the courses that you will have to take. You'll usually take an English course, which will be 4 credits, 4 credits of a fine arts course. You'll also have to take a course in history, and then 1 in the natural sciences. And we'll need 4 credits in history as well as natural sciences. You'll have to take 8 credits in something that we call the integrations in humanities. And then your language course, again, this is what I mentioned, where it will kind of range between maybe 0 and 8 credits, depending upon how you place in languages. You'll have to take 12 credits in theology and philosophy. So don't get nervous, it's not 12 credits in each, I promise. You'll take 1 course in theology, 1 course in philosophy, and then the 3rd course you can pick out of either of the 2. So you'll have some choice there in what may be of most interesting to you. You also have to take a math course, and you'll have to take a course in the social sciences. So it really is what we look at as that foundation of what we need every St. Thomas student to have. You want to have a total of 129 credits when you graduate. So once you get through with your core, you're able to start to do some of your major classes, and some students will start to, sprinkle in a few major courses here and there. But that's really the idea about the core. And I hope that that's okay, but I'll be open to answer any questions if you want more explanation about the core curriculum a little bit later on in this evening's webinar. So at this point, I will pass the baton over to Dr. Sabora to talk to you a little bit about the first year experience, our living learning communities, as well as our theme-based learning communities. Dr. Sabora.
Thank you, Dr. White. Again, my name is Leslie Sabora, and I'm really excited to welcome you and to share a little bit more about the exciting opportunities in our first year experience. And so I want to give you a very brief presentation today to talk with you a little bit about the curricular and the co-curricular elements of the first year experience and the steps along the way as you begin your experience as a Tommy. So to begin, I want to talk just a little bit about the overarching goals. And the primary goals of our first year experience are to build a community of learners that's focused on helping you successfully transition to St. Thomas, and also to help you deepen your understanding of St. Thomas. And that includes our mission, our values, and the resources that are available to you. And finally, to help you develop habits and behaviors that promote your success at St. Thomas and beyond. And to achieve these goals, we've designed an experience for our Tommies that begins during orientation in the summer and will continue through our welcome days in early September. And during those welcome days, you'll have an opportunity to meet and spend time with students who are in one of your first year experience courses that you'll take during the fall semester. So our first year experience curriculum has 2 elements, and the first is our Foundations for College Success course, and the second is a learning community requirement, where you as a future Tommy will have the choice of participating in either a living learning community or a theme-based learning community. So the first of these elements is FYEX 100, our Foundations for College Success course, and it's a 1-credit pass-fail course that's designed to continue your introduction to the St. Thomas community and also to provide you with the knowledge and skills to succeed at St. Thomas and beyond. The course meets once per week for 65 minutes, and it covers a range of important topics that include campus engagement, well-being, academic success, financial literacy, career and vocation, sustainability, global and intercultural competence, and spirituality. The second element of the first year experience is your learning community requirement, and students have the choice of participating in a living learning community or a theme-based learning community. So if you choose to participate in a living learning community, it starts you off on a path towards your major or your academic interest. It also gives you an opportunity to meet and study with students who have a similar academic interest to you. And it starts you with a faculty member that would teach the course or could be an advisor or a mentor to you throughout your college experience. And finally, and I think really importantly, it provides you with lots of support as you transition to college. The second option that you have to meet your learning community requirement is participating in a theme-based learning community. And these theme-based learning communities are designed to provide students with an interdisciplinary experience that's in a mission-based theme by taking 2 courses in that theme. And so these 2 courses are already part of your curriculum, and they can meet your core or major or even enhanced curriculum requirements. And they're a great opportunity for you. They add a lot of value to these courses because they cover topics within one of the 5 themes that are listed below, and gives you a perspective on that given theme through 2 disciplinary lenses. And so those themes that you have an opportunity to choose from include environmental sustainability, change making, human well-being, social justice, and culture and social transformation. So just to summarize, the 2 elements of the first year experience are the Foundations for College Success course. And then the second is the learning community requirement, where you'll have the opportunity to choose to participate in either a living learning community or a theme-based learning community. And we're really looking forward to building a community of learners with you that help you succeed at St. Thomas and beyond, with courses that add value to your academic plan. And I want to thank you for allowing me to share this little bit of information with you, and be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'll come to our panelists with some of the questions that were submitted when you all registered for this event. So I'm actually going to start with our students, because you want to hear from the students, right? We're all professors and stuff. So I'm going to go to Cameron, then I'm going to go to Priscilla. So Cameron, one of the questions that we received is, what classes do freshmen typically take in their first year?
Yeah, so I guess looking at what my first year looked like, I had 1 class that was within my major, and then I had a couple of my general courses from that core curriculum. So I had like my theology and my philosophy that first year that I was able to take, which worked out well for me since I'm a minor in theology. So that gave me the ability to kind of expand on that a little bit more.
Thank you. And Priscilla, I know you're a senior, but can you think back to freshman year and tell us, what does a typical week look like in the first year?
Yeah, typical week first year, I was taking 4 classes. My classes were pretty similar to Cameron's, but I would go to classes. I met a lot of new people. I was living in the residence hall, so a lot of time spent socially with the friends that I was meeting, kind of exploring campus in the area.
Okay, did you have to do a lot of, did you need to do a lot of coursework outside of class, or does everything kind of happen in class?
Yeah, so most of the coursework I would say happens outside of class, depending on what kind of class you're taking. It's usually lectures, and your professor will teach you things within the class, and then outside of class is when you work on assignments or papers or projects.
Okay, thank you. The next question I'm actually going to give to Drew, because a lot of students wonder about this. How and when do we figure out what college high school class credits will transfer? Which high school credits are going to transfer over to St. Thomas? How and when will someone know that information?
So we'll know it for certain when the transcript, like let's say that you took post-secondary courses or college in the schools courses, and that credit's being granted by, let's just say, the University of Minnesota. And when we receive that transcript from the University of Minnesota, it gets evaluated, and it magically appears on your unofficial transcript at St. Thomas. And if you have a question about, well, does this course satisfy this requirement, academic counseling or your faculty advisor, you'll each, when you arrive in the fall, have a faculty advisor, will be able to walk you through the process to have that explored if it isn't an automatic.
Okay. Thank you. That's perfect. My next question is actually for Leslie. What difference does it make the first year if I attend with or without a major in mind? Is it a big deal if I don't know what I want to major in right away? And actually maybe have the students actually chime in a little bit on that as well. You have some.
Yeah. I think that's a really great question, and I think that there are probably many students who come to college and haven't decided on a major, and that's okay. College is a great time for you to explore what interests you, and so even as part of the first year experience, you have an opportunity to explore a major through your living learning community. If you're not sure about your major in the first year experience, you have an opportunity to explore courses across the university as part of your theme-based learning community. But you have a chance to sort of dip your toe into those areas and learn what interests you and learn what's exciting to you.
Okay. Cameron, do you have anything to add to that one? Do you know any of your friends who, I know you knew exactly what you were going to do, because I know you, so I know you do that. So.
Well, I did know what I wanted to do, but I actually kind of switched tracks partway through. So I started off on a biology track, planning to go to dental school afterwards, and did a bunch of job shadows and realized every time I saw blood, I passed out. So that wasn't a great career fit. So for me, having that core curriculum kind of helped me to look at different areas that I was interested in, and is why I ended up with entrepreneurship and theology as my combo there. But so I would say you definitely don't need to have something in mind right away. And if you have something in mind and you switch it, that's fine too. You don't like graduate later or anything. So for me, it was a good experience to have kind of that combo of what I thought I wanted to do, and then all of the other courses that helped me figure out where I'm at now.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to our deans. I'll come to Don and Laura after that. So Don, one of the questions we received is, why St. Thomas for engineering? Why does a student come to St. Thomas to get an engineering degree? Now you only have a few minutes to, want to go on all day about this one, but.
Thanks for giving me just less than a few minutes. Well, why St. Thomas? I mean, the thing is that we're an industry-facing organization that embraces what industry wants in our students, what industry needs in our students. And to be very honest, what industry wants are well-rounded engineers. You can easily, become a calculator. You can easily become someone who's very proficient at computer science or computers or calculations. But what industry wants is people to put that in context. What does it mean? What does it mean for their businesses? What does it mean for their customers? And that's the difference that you're going to get at St. Thomas. So a very well connected, responsive, relevant education.
I love it. I have a follow-up to that. A student asked, will I have to take a minor while in an engineering degree? Will they have to take a minor?
No, you won't have to take a minor as an engineer, but actually, believe it or not, when you describe your St. Thomas engineering education, you are going to have such a different kind of description of your education than someone from Iowa State or Minnesota or North Dakota. You're going to be talking about an education which has got so much depth to it in terms of understanding of the human condition. I mean, ultimately, the products that you sell, the products you design, the devices that you make as an engineer are going to be connected to society, and they're going to help people do things, and they're going to improve people's lives. So to suggest that you could do that without an understanding of the human condition is really a limitation. And that's what I think St. Thomas brings. Not I think, St. Thomas does bring that.
Thank you so much. It's perfect. Dean Donna, I'm going to come to you for the next question. What should an incoming freshman expect regarding available work experience opportunities within the Opus College of Business? So I think this one is kind of looking at what are some opportunities they can have to gain some work experience, maybe through your school or within OCB in general.
Yeah, one of the things to sort of echo Dawn is that the Opus College is also very industry facing and very well connected to the business community here. And tens of thousands of alumni who are very loyal and active to St. Thomas. So we are regularly bringing in business people into the classroom to lecture. We are regularly bringing our alumni to engage with our students as mentors. And all of that ends up resulting in a lot of opportunities in terms of internships as you're going through school and jobs. So our students have an excellent track record of getting connected to great internships. Most of those are working within the disciplinary area that they are interested in. We also, have opportunities to connect to the startup environment here as well. The Schultz School offers some subsidized internships for our students to work with startups that might not be able to afford to pay for interns, but could provide them with really good job experience. So a huge gamut of opportunities across all disciplines, across all industries, and helps our students get that not only in the classroom, understanding of what business, what business and industry is looking for, but real hands-on experience outside the classroom, working in great job opportunities.
Okay. And there was actually, thank you, a follow-up to that one. Well, a similar question. Are internships required to get a degree in business at St. Thomas?
No, internships are not required, but they certainly are a valuable part of your experience. And we really encourage our students and support them in their search for internships, preparing for internships, connecting with opportunities. So I will say, to also echo what Don said, I think our classrooms are very experiential and hands-on, which is a fabulous way to learn business because it is all about the critical thinking and applying the theory and the frameworks that you're learning about business to making real decisions. But there's just nothing like actually getting out there as well and working for a business, small, medium, large, and in a couple of different, functions that can be particularly useful for that student who doesn't know what they want to do, because they can try a marketing job, they can try a finance job, and they can see what a day in the life is like. So tremendous learning, both about the field itself and also where your fit is. So we really do encourage and support our students to make sure they get that internship experience. It's really valuable.
Thank you. Now, I'll go to Dr. Gladney next. This is something that's on all the students' minds, and they're just dying to know, do faculty have office hours? How do students connect with faculty when they have questions? How do they get a hold of you?
Yes, faculty, we do have office hours, but I would like to say that from engaging with my colleagues across the university, we have office hours, but we also have an open door policy because we like to always, for the most part, be there for our students. So yes, we do have office hours. We do have where students can email us questions if they can't come in. And we also, hey, you send me an email and tell me that you need to see me in 30 minutes. I stay close by, so I can be there in 30 minutes. So yes, we do have office hours, but it's not just limited to a time frame. We're open to meet students with their needs, and we're open to listen to whatever students have to say.
Perfect. So Priscilla, can you add on to that? What's the best way for incoming students to get in contact with their professors? What's kind of the best methodology you figured out to get a hold of us?
Yeah, so I think it does depend a little bit on the professors, but usually the first week of classes, professors will go through their syllabus and list all of their contact info. And all of my professors have told us whether they prefer, getting a text or getting an email. They always have a phone number listed. So all my professors have been very open about that. I do enjoy going to their office hours. It's a great way to get to know them, and then it just makes, down the line, if you need help, it makes you more comfortable going to them and knowing how to communicate with them.
Wonderful, thank you. Colin, I'll give the next question to you. Are there undergraduate research opportunities, and how soon can students get involved in research, undergraduate research?
Yeah, that's a great question, particularly in the sciences, though I think this is largely true of many of the departments on campus. In my opinion, this is one of the best arguments for why St. Thomas is a great place to come, because we're a large school, so we have a lot of the resources that go with being a relatively large school, but at the same time, particularly in sciences, we don't have any graduate students or postdocs. It's really undergraduate students and the faculty. And the faculty in science are here because we want to teach and work with undergraduate students. So basically, if a faculty member has a research program that they want or need help with because it's involved and has a lot of components to it, the only people that they're going to be able to recruit are undergraduates. So we have a lot of students who will sort of find their feet a little bit in their first year, but then maybe as a sophomore, they'll start knocking on doors or going to research talks by faculty and finding out what people do. But we have people participating just for a summer or for several years or for their entire time at St. Thomas. And for students, even those who are not necessarily interested in a career in research, they find that to be a really enriching, positive experience for all the variety of things that they might want to go on and do.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Drew, some students want to know, what area should I take placement test for?
So depending on your test scores for ACT and SAT and credits you may have from high school, you could need anywhere between 0 and 4 placement exams. So if you studied another language and don't expect credit for that, you might take a placement exam in a world language. If your initial math placement based on your ACT or SAT subscore doesn't match the math that you need for your major field, the prerequisite kind of level, you would take a math placement. If you're interested in a field that requires a sequence of general chemistry, you would then potentially be asked to take a chemistry placement. And if your placement in English based on subscores on the ACT or SAT, you may be asked to provide an additional writing sample to your admissions materials. So most students, I think, take 1 or 2. And many take 0. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, there are a lot of questions around COVID and the learning environment that we find ourselves in right now, and how is that going to look for students coming to St. Thomas? And so there's a few questions that I'm going to kind of give to a few different people. I'll actually start again with the students. I'll go Cameron, then I'll go Priscilla again. What has it been like to take classes virtually this last semester?
Yeah, so I had a really good experience being online. So we transitioned about halfway through the semester around spring break. And coming back from spring break, it's kind of really that first week of being fully online. And one of my classes was kind of paired with an internship experience that we were able to complete. And so for me, that was a really unique opportunity, actually getting to see and watch a small business go through kind of the planning stages of, okay, now what do we do? And the class paired really well with that. And so a lot of that class is based on reflecting on those experiences that we were able to have, whereas my other 2 classes were much more lecture-based. And so those ones translated very easily into an online format, just because you still get that face-to-face interaction through a Zoom setting, and then you were still able to ask questions, and the interaction was still fairly similar. So I would say it was a really good experience.
Thank you. Priscilla, how's your experience been?
Yeah, my experience was also positive. Kind of like what Cameron said, 2 of my classes were lecture-based, so we did have those lectures via Zoom. But what was great about that actually was that my professor would record the lectures, so we had that available to us at any point during the rest of the semester if we wanted to go back and rewatch those lectures. And then my other class was more of an interactive English class. We had a lot of group discussions and we would talk a lot as a class, and that was still completely available over Zoom. My professor would talk to us as a group, and then she'd send us into breakout rooms, and our smaller groups would talk about certain things. So overall, everything went really well for all of my classes.
Thank you. And there's another one. This is for Dawn. What does learning from home consist of for engineering students? Kind of how have you all transitioned to this new normal, I guess, this unprecedented time in the engineering school, or teaching
I think
remotely?
This is a general question for the lab-based hands-on component. And obviously this semester we benefited from the incredible amount of experience that our students had prior to this transition. But just for example, the students had familiarization with the equipment and the testing equipment. The faculty would come in and actually run the tests and send the data to the students and do the analysis. So there wasn't quite the hands-on experience, but the students had familiarization with the equipment, with the apparatus. and they would be sent the data. But now, coming into the fall, we are fully expecting to be online, or not online, but hands-on again. And so we are going to be watching all of the practices and recommendations of the Minnesota Department of Health and the CDC. So we are going to be managing our labs in a very hands-on way for starting September 1. That is the plan. There is a document that's just gone out to the state that's regarding our preparedness plan. And we will be following the guidance of that plan, acceptance by the state, in terms of how we're going to make sure that our students get the hands-on engaged experience that we've really relish here. We showcase here at St. Thomas, and that's going to return September 1.
Perfect, thank you. And Colin, what about in biology? How has it been virtually, kind of the lab experience and things that you all do as well? How's that been going?
Yeah, I think it went relatively well considering the circumstance this semester. Like Cameron and Don mentioned, having several weeks at the beginning of the semester was very helpful because students could kind of learn some of the techniques that they would be doing, and then we kind of adapted to the online environment. I think one of the things that we're thinking about looking at this fall is what kind of lab-centric interactions could be done effectively online. So things like student group meetings or research components where they're looking up literature research and reading papers. But that also, we are planning on spreading out the in-person activities, both in terms of having people over a larger amount of space and also staggered in terms of time to make sure that we're providing a safe learning environment. But we're thinking a lot more than we have in the past about what kinds of things could effectively be done online, so that when we do have in-person sessions, they're for the most important and the most crucial actual hands-on periods.
Okay, thank you. And Tanya, we had a few. I think it's on everybody's mind right now, right? About what's going on. What have classes been like in a virtual environment, Tanya? Could you take this one and talk a little bit more about what you've been able to do in your class? I think you've been doing some very exciting, innovative things, and I'm sure our guests would love to hear about what you've done.
Yes. Thank you, Shanita. When the classes shifted to online, of course, it was very fast, but we were very committed to making sure that we maintain the content and the actual experience that we like to offer the students. And so for my police and society class, I always like to engage the students with different perspectives on law enforcement. And so towards the end of the class, with a regular class, I have what I call a guest speaker series. When we went online, I was still able to maintain that guest speaker series. So I was able to bring in law enforcement that represent the federal law enforcement. I had an FBI agent to come speak to the students. I was able to bring in law enforcement from local and state and city. I was also able to bring in someone from the ACLU to speak from a different perspective as it relates to law enforcement. And so the students were able to still gain that experience and hearing all the different perspectives as we talk about police and society, and they get a break from listening to me. I give the science of the topic, and then I bring in the guest speakers so they can see what it looks like and what it sounds in real life. And so I was really happy to be able to do that. I want to share about another class because we have a lot of our classes are connected with community engagement projects. In one of our class, our intro to sociology class, Dr. Maddox, she partnered with Catholic Charities where they work with the Family Service Center, which is a homeless shelter for families. And they were able to still do art projects for the students online. So what they did, they created videos and they shared the videos with the families and the youth so they can see how to make different art projects. And one I was really fascinated with because they learned how to make a teddy bear, and I'm not good with art. So when I saw the video, I was like, oh, I could actually do this. So it was really fun to watch. And I actually provided the clip if whenever possible. If you have time, you can watch the clip. It's the video. It's an example of the actual project that was shared with the families with Catholic Charities. So we were able to still do some really great things. Although we went online, we were still able to maintain our format so the students can have a good classroom experience.
Perfect. Thank you. And there's actually one that came into the live chat. It reads, and I can probably look at this one. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, is there an option to have our first semester classes online? Well, what I'll say is St. Thomas always offers online courses. You know, before COVID, we had options to have online courses for you to take in different disciplines. So that's always been an option for you to take. Now, to have your whole first semester on classes, it would depend on what you choose. As Don said, you know, we are prepared to be open and residential and have in-person classes in the fall, but there may be some that may be still offered online, and you would have the opportunity to take those if they fit your schedule or fit your needs. Don, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, sure. Again, I think the plan is that we are going to be in person, but that also doesn't mean, we're going to recognize that there's going to be people in our community that are going to need those accommodations. And the idea is to develop a set of courses, especially, you know, the freshman and sophomore level, where students will be able to continue to progress towards their degree in a fully online mode. And I know this is true in engineering, this is true in the sciences, this is true in the liberal arts and the humanities, as well as in business, that we're making these plans to make those accommodations so that students could, in those particular cases, that they'll be able to fit and progress towards their degree. We want to help, and we're not interested in delaying your progress towards completion of degree, and we're going to make those accommodations when we can.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that may be all of our kind of COVID-related ones that we've received. So now I'll go back to some other just general kind of questions. Laura, we received a question to ask, what is the student-to-teacher ratio in business courses in the business school?
And I think that's a really important point and is a really valuable part of the experience at St. Thomas, which is that your biggest class, the foundational class, will not get any bigger than 40 students. And most of your classes will be anywhere from 15 to 25. So as you get into the electives. So what this means is you get to know your professors get to know you, the classroom gets to be much more interactive, you get to know the other students. I think it really helped us make that transition when we had to this past spring due to COVID online, because you weren't in a class of 200 people watching somebody talk. You were in a class of 35 people with their pictures on. You could have conversations, you could go into breakout rooms that your professor could pop into and engage with. So I think that's one of the, I always think, you know, I always say St. Thomas really sort of sits in this sweet spot. We are a big enough school that you could take, there's any major, we have them all here, right? And we attract faculty from the top schools around the country. So the quality of education here is spectacular. But on the other hand, you will always be in small classes. You'll know other students, you'll know your faculty. We're in this sort of big city, you know, the Twin Cities, which has got all kinds of wonderful city amenities, and yet we have campuses that are in this beautiful sort of safe residential community. So, you know, I'm going well beyond the question about you know, teacher-student ratio, but I just think that's such an important part of the experience here at St. Thomas. Big enough to get a rich and varied experience, small enough to get to know people, you get to know your faculty, you get to do more experiential stuff in class. And I would just like to throw one other thing out about the COVID, because, you know, part of what we did was we had to learn to transition the way the business community did, right? To how do you maintain engagement? How do you maintain productive collaboration online? So there was tremendously valuable learning for all of us about how to do that. And we also discovered there are opportunities you don't get. We brought people into our classroom from Silicon Valley, right? You know, Ann Winblad, legendary VC, spoke to our entrepreneurial finance class. Dick Schultz, founder of Best Buy, spoke to our graduating seniors from Florida, which is where he lives. Because when you're in the Zoom universe, you know, it doesn't matter if you're here, if you're in Europe, if you're in South America, we can Zoom you into the class for a meaningful conversation. So highly personal experience here at St. Thomas, which is ultimately related to the question you asked me.
It was perfect. It's perfect. Thank you so much. This question is for Priscilla, how many credits does a student usually take in a semester?
Yeah, so a student usually will take around 16 credits, but I'm currently taking 12 just because I'm further along and I have less classes to take, or students can sometimes take up to 20. So
okay,
12 to 20 is pretty typical.
Okay, and Cameron, what's been your experience? What kind of load do you usually carry in a semester?
Yeah, I would say that my first year, I carried 16 each semester, and then I did take summer classes and one J term. So that way I only had 12 credits the rest of my semesters.
Perfect. So Drew, so kind of know how many credits students typically take. How do they know what to register for?
So there's all sorts of help getting into that first semester. We have this great team of academic counselors that will take, you'll complete a course preference form. They'll learn a lot about you and create a schedule. And then an academic counselor or faculty member will sit down and talk you through that schedule. Beyond that, the day before fall semester begins, you'll have a faculty advising meeting. And you'll have a faculty advisor for your first couple of years. And then when you declare your major, you'll have a faculty advisor within that major field. And sometimes it stays the same and sometimes not. But they will meet with you each semester and check in about how things are going and talk through the coming semesters and things that you can do to enhance your experience beyond the classroom. And I think that there's also academic counseling as a resource to do some of that major field discernment and course planning. You can sit down and look at different majors and the courses you would take from start to finish with our academic counseling team.
Perfect. I actually have a follow-up one for you that came in through the live chat. How much opportunity would I have to take classes outside of the general and major requirements just to explore other topics?
So that's a great question. And if you think back to Dr. White's pyramid in the initial slide, that top part of the pyramid, the enhanced experience is a place to explore beyond the core curriculum and beyond your major field potentially. And it varies. As you saw, there was a range of credits. But there's usually space for anywhere from, usually a couple classes at least that you'll have to explore with. But everybody's situation is a little bit different. Sometimes if you come in with lots of credits, you walk a different path than if not. But typically students have at least a couple opportunities to explore beyond the core or their major.
Perfect, thank you. Leslie, I know that your discipline, your department does really cool things. So I'm going to put this question to you. How will we students find internships? I know that your program does a lot of cool things with that, but in generally, how do they find internships? You can speak specifically about what you guys do.
Yeah, that's a great question. And students in our departments all complete internships as part of their academic studies in the Health and Exercise Science department, and we can go about internships in any number of different ways. We have collaborations and relationships that we've built with community partners in the business community and in the healthcare community that we can help to match students who are interested in those areas. We also have a faculty member in our department who specifically helps to coordinate those internships and helps to establish those relationships and helps to facilitate those opportunities with students. And so we have students that are in internships that range from public health entities out in the community to internships in occupational therapy. And as one example in the healthcare community, because so many of our students are very interested in healthcare, and so we try to help them find and place them in those areas.
I know a couple of our other panels are probably itching. I can feel like a reverse engineering career fair kind of coming over here. Maybe Laura. So John, can you talk a little bit about the creative, innovative things that you guys do in engineering school around helping students to find internships and placement and things like that?
Yeah, I think the general question here is like, how can you explore all of these options? And believe me, what you'll find as a college student is that you're walking into the biggest candy store in the world in terms of opportunities and things that will present themselves to you. You couldn't possibly explore every option. That's the beauty of it. It's also the scary part of it. But there are many ways in which you could, explore all those possibilities. One is, as you said, could you take a class in this or that? And that's what our elective courses are for. Could you take an internship in the medical device area, and then take an internship in manufacturing, or take an internship in sales? That's what our summer internships are about. Could you do research with a faculty in rocket science, or do research faculty with modeling, or do research with a faculty in some sort of software area? I mean, all of those are possibilities, and they're all presented to you. And believe me, there are 10 lifetimes of experience that are possible in your 4-year time here. And that's really the biggest thing, is just throw yourself into those things. That's what college is about. They're all available. And you're going to find something you're going to wet yourself to. And you're going to find joy in that. And that's going to take you for a few years. And then you're going to find joy in something else. And that's going to take you for the next decade.
Thank you. Did Laura, you want to add something about school entrepreneurship and things that you all may be doing?
Sure. Number one, we have a great career development department that gets listings from companies of all sizes, all over the Twin Cities and beyond. So that's always a great resource for our students. We have a fantastic mentoring program where our alumni in various disciplines sign up, and you can form a mentorship relationship with them that's ongoing. Or that, I want to talk to somebody about marketing jobs. I want to talk to somebody maybe about finance jobs, or I want to work in an innovation center, at a financial services firm. And so you can find somebody that you can make connections with and learn about the industry from, and end up networking with, who can help you find great job opportunities. One of the nice things about being in a school where the classroom size is on average something like 25 or something, you do get to know your faculty. You come to your faculty's office hours, you tell them what you're interested in, you tell them about your experience, and we get a lot of stuff that gets thrown over the transom. I always say, go on, make sure you post that, right, in the Career Development Center. But if I hear something that's really intriguing and I go, oh my gosh, I just met with Cameron, he just told me he's interested in the following stuff, I'm gonna drop him a note and say, if this is interesting to you, I want you to know it's just gotten posted. So the personal connections with your faculty help you as well. So and the other thing I would say is there's a fantastic clubs here at St. Thomas, and really vibrant life around the clubs, and they're in every different discipline, and they bring in speakers and people from industry, and students meet those folks and network with them. And I've heard plenty of students that get those opportunities from them. And the final thing I'll throw out there is we are always trying to get our students out into the community and the world. And, in one of our classes, you have to interview an entrepreneur, and fantastic learning for the students, kind of scary if they don't know somebody. They learn so much. And I've had so many students get internships from those relationships. So there's just so many different avenues for Tommies to get connected to really cool opportunities.
Thank you.
Now I'll go to the students to see if you all have anything to add to that, Cameron or Priscilla, maybe with the clubs. That was kind of a good segue that Laura mentioned, like your involvement maybe in clubs and the opportunity that students have to get involved with clubs on campus. Either I see Priscilla kind of nodding. Oh, Cameron came off mute. There you go, Cameron. You can go for it.
I would say for me, the major ways that I've found internships were either through the job postings that St. Thomas puts out. Otherwise, the Minnesota Private College Job and Internship Fair in the spring. That was a great opportunity for me, and that's how I found my internship that'll be starting next week. So I have never had a hard time finding opportunities. It's just trying to narrow down which ones are the direction that I want to go in, I guess.
Yeah, to relate from what Cameron said, I found my internship for this summer at that same fair. There were plenty of employers, plenty of places that you can go and talk to the recruiters and learn more about the companies. That was great. It was my first year going. just this past spring, and I got an internship from it, which is awesome. Additionally, there's so many jobs posted on that St. Thomas website. And I actually found my on-campus employment through a club that I joined freshman year. I was a Town Ambassador, which is within the admissions office, and that's how I got started working within the admissions office. So to kind of tie those two together.
This is my plug for students. Your first job opportunity could be on campus, and working on campus is always a great opportunity for great work experience. We retain our students who work on campus at a higher rate, and so there's always opportunities. There's really good work that you can do as well. So it's always fun stuff to have our students working on campus with us. I actually have kind of a discipline-specific question. This one's for Colin. And this is kind of a question I kind of asked like Don and Laura initially, but what makes biology at St. Thomas special from the biology programs at other schools? Here's your moment, Colin. Bring it home.
So I think one of the things that is great about our biology department is that it's really structured to be a broad-based liberal arts biology department. So we have people who work in every different area, all the way from microbes up to ecosystems. So the way our curriculum is structured is that the first 2 and really 3 classes are the kind of common group of classes that everyone takes to give you a sort of broad-based but really strong grounding in the sort of central topics that are going to be necessary to know a bit about no matter what area you go into. But once you're done with that, you really get to choose whatever aspect you're interested in. So I've had a lot of students who have started out interested in one area and then taken a class that really fired their imagination and got them interested in a totally different aspect of biology. So we strive to be very student-centered and not limiting in terms of what you're required to take. There's much less of that sort of, you got to take one from this basket and one from that. But that really students have a great chance to explore and follow the interests that they may come to St. Thomas already having or discover while they're here. Perfect.
Thank you. And actually we had a question come into the live Q&A. I don't think we have anybody from the psychology discipline on here. If anybody feels as if they could speak to it, but is there a good psychology program? How do you feel about the psychology program here? So okay, Colin, sure.
Yeah, so I'm in biology, of course, but we work closely with the psychology department. And another thing, which is, I think, a strength of the natural and social sciences at St. Thomas generally, is that we recognize that these fields, these areas of inquiry don't, sort of stop at the edge of our department, that they bleed into each other quite a bit. And so one of the things that we have are a variety of interdisciplinary majors that allow students who are interested in something like psychology and biology to sort of exist and learn at the overlap. So we have a major called neuroscience, which is kind of half psychology and half biology. We have biochemistry or environmental sciences or biology of global health. And it really allows students to sort of say, well, I started out interested in biology, but then I took a psych class and it was really fascinating to be able to incorporate both of those elements into their learning. And so the psychology department is great. It's one of the largest departments in the College of Arts and Sciences, and they also have a tremendous range of faculty studying and teaching about all different aspects of psychology.
Fantastic.
I like that. Is it okay if I add with that? Yeah, and with the psychology department, and as Colin mentioned, that even in our department, we have myself and another faculty member. We're partnering with a faculty member in the psychology department on research project. Actually, it's Dr. Roxanne Pritchard, who does her research on sleep study. Everybody knows Roxanne from sleep, right? And with that, as he mentioned about the interdisciplinary aspect of our programs, is that we also include students on those projects as well. So sociology, criminal justice students get to also work with psychology students and get a really great experience from the psychology department.
It's perfect. Thank you for chiming in on that one. So we're kind of getting, close to our time. We have like 15 more minutes, but I've kind of gone through a lot of the questions. So I want to start to look a little bit forward, So to talk about a little bit about, maybe Drew, you can come in on this. What are the next steps for our students like this summer? So I know you you've talked about it a little bit in your answers to some other questions, but what would kind of be that next step and what would happen next for students deciding to come to St. Thomas from this point on?
Yeah, so one of the ways that I think we were well situated going into the COVID crisis was that we had a online course to teach new students the curriculum already from last year, and we've enhanced that and made it better this year. And so you know, if you were coming in, you would complete a course called Registration Readiness, and it's a simple thing. It walks you through kind of the basics of the core and your first semester courses, and it's moderated by an academic counselor and 2 faculty members, you know, and so you would have a chance to connect both with students and with those folks in that course, and to learn about what you need to know for your first semester courses. And then you would complete something called the course preference form, and that asks questions about your interests. It's our way of understanding you as a student and your unique situation, because everybody's coming in with different interests and different experiences from high school, and you know, some folks with earned credits already, and so we kind of gather that up with the course preference form, and then you kind of create like course plans based on what you'd learned. You'd in our system called Murphy Online, you'd put together 5 courses, one of them being that great FYEX 100 course for your first semester, or 6 courses. And then an academic counselor would look at your situation individually and put together a schedule, and then you would have a chance to meet with that academic counselor remotely, or the faculty members who were part of your registration readiness course at some point in July, and talk through your courses for the fall semester.
Perfect. Actually, I'm realizing my husband's office phone has like 15 minutes. It's actually like 4:56, so I'm actually a little bit closer to the time than I thought. So it's like my students in class, they don't tell me what time it is. They just sit there and say, oh, I don't know. But so we're a little bit closer. But well, I think we were able to get through the majority of the questions, well, actually all of the questions that you all submitted to us upon registration. So thank you for submitting those questions. Thank you for the ones that have come in live. The final question that, and I know Don talked a lot about this, what are the university plans for the fall? We will be open and residential in the fall. So if you decide to come to St. Thomas, we're here for you. We'll be teaching our courses. Our campus will be open and vibrant. And we are ready to welcome students to campus in the safest possible manner, in accordance with all of the state, local, and federal guidelines that are being put out there. So if you have any follow-up questions about that, you can always email admissions if you want to just, ask more specific questions about what's happening as we're planning for the fall. And I think with that, I would like to thank all of the panelists for offering all of their wisdom this evening, and thank you for joining. We will put up a screen with some contact information. So if you have any additional questions or any follow-up questions to anything that was mentioned today, do not hesitate to reach out. We hope to see you in the fall. It's a fun place to be. St. Thomas is awesome. We have Tommy Tuesday, so get your purple ready so you can wear your purple on Tommy Tuesday. It was always fun. And thank you again, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. See you this fall.
Thanks, everyone.